Religious Environmentalism by Von de Leon and Sherry Holgado. What is religious environmentalism? Religious environmentalism started in an informed awareness of the intensified environmental crisis such as global warming and desertification which impact every human. And as theologian Larry Rasmussen puts it, we think God from the standpoint of Earth community. But how did it start? During the early 20th century through the 1940s, religious environmentalism was rooted in various social gospel. In the late 1960s and 70s, during the civil movements, it was often grounded in the social justice concerns and activism. However, much religious environmentalist activism, whether at the congregational, denominational, or national level, is clearly rooted in earlier religiously social reform movements. But why is environmental crisis a religious concern? First, religious people are human, with bodies that are impacted by toxins resulting from the environmental crisis. Second, most religions teach that the earth is the Lord, thus it is a gift to humans and is a property of God. With that being said, earth being a gift must be treated accordingly. Third, there are a number of religious rituals that have to do with the physical world. And in most religions, it has been illustrated that God had a presence in the natural world. For example, the God used to be found on trees, but now where are the trees? If God cannot be found in nature, then God will be hard to find in other places. Lastly, religions teach that humans are superior than other creations. There are several dimensions of religious response. First is the changes of theology. It covers concepts of eco-theology and deep ecology. Eco-theology means the earth matters. We are connected. Humans may be distinct, but is not significantly special with other creatures. Deep ecology means doing ecology that is not only on the standpoint of human beings. Another dimension of religious response would be institutional statements. Some of the examples of famous institutional statements are from Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I and Pope John Paul II. According to Bartholomew, to commit a crime against the natural world is a sin. Bartholomew had been the Patriarch of Constantinople. He is the spiritual leader of 300 million Orthodox Christians around the world and has earned the title Green Patriarch for his efforts to raise environmental awareness. On the other hand, Pope John Paul II mentioned in 2002 that if nature is not violated and humiliated, it returns to being the sister of humanity. These statements are powerful driving forces in spreading influence of religion to environmental concerns. The third dimension is the action by religious groups. This includes the rise of movements. There had been 300 international environmental movements that did not even exist years ago. Shown in the photo are the Bishnu and Chipko movements in India, which both protected the sacredness and importance of trees. And the last dimension would be the rituals that relate to the environment. The paradigm involved in the movement is organic holistic, where everything is interconnected through cosmic webs. This idea of interconnectedness is expressed differently in various non-Western traditions, but they are all claimed to be ecocentric, where people are seen as intimately united with nature. There is also the notion of karma, which is taken to entail an environmental moral responsibility and often seen as binding individuals to the environment. There are two major groups playing a significant role in religious environmentalism: the Eco-Justice Working Group and the faith-based organizations. The Eco-Justice Working Group, or EWG, of the National Council of Churches was a leader in national and religious environmental work and had cast environmental problems as social problems. The EWG acknowledged and sought to educate others about the disproportionate environmental burdens that had to be borne by the poor and minority communities. And as the global climate crisis has heightened and more have become aware of the climate change threat, their research on religious environmentalism has focused on climate change. There are two primary ways in which FBOs or faith-based organizations play a significant role in addressing environmental issues. First, leaders serve as important mediums in highlighting environmental principles from a religious perspective and thereby influence their congregations. Second, FBOs are important mobilizers through which their members participate in environmental activities and also serve to further disseminate information to a wider society. Here are the examples of FBOs found in the United States. Here's an infographic from UN Environment showing the influence of FBO through different forms of media. Significant number relating to religious investment products has grown 3,500% in America alone. Further, faith-based funds grew from $500 million to $17 billion. These illustrate the extent of influence that the FBOs have. Here's a summary of the process involving the development of religious environmentalism. First, it originates in an awareness and understanding of heightened environmental crisis. As mentioned, examples of these crises are deforestation and global warming. Next, there would be a further understanding of social justice concerns, which are extended to include nature and how environmental degradation impacts health and well-being of people. Then, historical changes, emerging personal and political commitments of religious institutions, groups, and individuals shape the perspective. Basically, it is honed by questions about what kind of nature is being valued, in what ways, for what reasons, and by whom. These are tied to a larger identity and cultural power issues, especially in terms of race, class, gender, ethnicity, and religion. And most likely, it has a universal tendency to move religions to the left. But what happens when religions become green? Well, they become marvelously ecumenical. Religions found ways to work together. For instance, can religion get along with politics, democracy, and other religions? Religious environmentalism is already happening. For example, in Zimbabwe, where there had been rampant deforestation, African independent Christian churches worked with traditional churches and planted 8 million trees. Religious environmentalism can be promoted through the use of both print and electronic media, where the church can preach its position and advocate for environmental care and sustainability. Also, during its conferences, crusades, and rallies, it could also allot a day or two for environmental activities such as cleanup exercises and tree planting and growing. Here are a few strengths of religious environmentalism. First, it has a potential to transform environmental beliefs, behavior, and politics. Second, it engages the religious and moral dimensions of humanity through religious teachings, ritual practice, and shared behavioral norms. On the other hand, here are a few of its weaknesses. There are certain limitations to the effects of religious doctrines on environmental concern and action as explored by Dupe and Hunt. In their study, there are limited effects of religious beliefs and religiosity on pro-environmental behavior and much greater effects of social sources of information within congregations. Second, the importance attached to the environmental issues by church leaders was found to have much stronger effect on the individual's views on the importance of environmental protection than religious beliefs and worldviews. Here are a few examples showing how religion has an enormously powerful motivating force. In Taiwan, there had been changing of traditional herbal recipes because some of the ingredients are already endangered. In India, the Sikh religion showed 300 years of ecological responsibility. Further, the Catholic Church has climate change as one of its major concerns. The Sisters of the Earth group promoted organic agriculture and values the earth as a place to inhabit in a modest, controlled, and sustainable way. Lastly, the Redwood Rabbis of the West Coast aimed not to destroy the remaining redwoods. Given the global reach of religion and their social, cultural, and political influence in many parts of the world, their message that conservation of the natural world was a fundamental element of faith and was seen to have a tremendous potential significance for the future of the environment. As conclusion, the natural environment at present is continuously destructed by human activities such as polluting the bodies of water, air, and land, resulting to degraded human sanitary and health conditions. The message of religious environmentalism towards conservation of the natural world was a fundamental element of faith and was seen to have a tremendous potential significance for the future of the environment. As recommendation, we'd like to highlight that there is need for collaboration between government and non-governmental organizations, including the Church, in the provision of services in promoting religious environmental intervention. Religion might hold some solutions to mitigate destructive patterns by creating a mindset that creates a productive and cooperative relationship between humans and nature. And on top of that, religion may be a key in the formulation of policies in line with the principles of environmental protection and sustainable development. Thank you very much.